We in here with a growth mindset. We got my guy Shawn. We got Simon P. So what we're gonna talk about today, we're gonna talk about self-development and investing in yourself. So here's the first thing that I will say. I'm gonna share a story, and you guys can tell me if you can relate to the story in any capacity. A good friend of mine, as I was starting my business, and I was probably maybe 3 years into my business. One of my friends had reached out. And he was like, "Hey, I'm looking to start a business. I want you to help me get everything situated." I was like, "All right, bet, let's do it." And given like one of my best friends growing up, so I spent probably one day with him developing a business plan based on what he wanted to do. And then the next day I gave him mapping out all the little steps they need to do. Starting with, I said, "Hey, since you're just starting, you don't have to file an LLC. Let's start it as a DBA. That way you can test it out. DBAs don't last you 5 years. LLC, as you know, you have to do the registration every 1 year. It costs more, right? Or yeah, every year. And so at the time, the DBA was like $55. And his response was, "I'm gonna have to hold off on it." Now, mind you, he was married and had probably 2 kids. And my mindset, I'm just like, first off, you ain't gonna keep that $55. When you swing by McDonald's, it's gone. So for me, what it did for me in that moment was I was like, okay, it's cool, no big deal. But I realized in that moment that we were just on completely different trajectories in life, because at this point I had already invested close to $150,000 in myself and self-development. And then I had somebody that's my friend, and he didn't want to spend $55 for himself to register, to start in business. And it's the $55 that you couldn't have kept either way. And so with the growth mindset that we're talking about today and talking about investing in yourselves, have you guys ever had experiences with people that you grew up with, or friends, colleagues, family members, whoever the case may be, that you realize that there was a separation simply because the person stopped investing in themselves? So where you were going and where they were going, because even like now, the conversations that we have, they're different, because I'm having, big dollar conversations and big dollar problems, where you might still be talking about, what you did at work today, or you're tired of X, Y, and Z. It's like, you looking for a job, I'm looking for employees. These are two different problems. You know what I mean? What about you, Shawn?
For sure, all the time. You know, back in the day, man, I it's so much, man. I get it all the time, bro. Like from clients to friends to family members. A lot of people that got like small minds, and where I'm at now in life is basically I'm looking at the big dollar signs. I'm looking at the high ticket. I'm looking at investments. I'm looking at the future. I'm looking at trust, wills, probate, a lot of stuff. So as of right now in my life, man, like I don't really care for small talk. I want to have conversations that are meaningful, that are valuable, that are beneficial, mutually beneficial. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With the growth mindset aspect, let's just be real. Everybody's not going to have it, but they do have it.
Yeah.
It's just that at that time, they may not have it. And you have to be able to identify that to see how much energy you're going to give into those conversations.
Sure.
Or find a way to empower. So the case of the person, like one of the things I like to do to distinguish that is I'm an avid reader, or I have become one.
Yeah.
So if I got a book that's written and people say, "Well, let me borrow it," I said, "Oh no, you could take a picture of it and go buy it." Now, if a month later, I say, "Hey, did you ever purchase that book you said you wanted to borrow from me?" "Nah, I didn't want to spend that money." I already know what mindset you're.
That's what's up.
Your curiosity to grow is not there.
Right.
So, sometimes you can miss some of the dogs out there,
right,
that may have less, but that dog would be like, "Hold on, let me see. I got to get a paycheck," or something like that. So I'd rather invest in that person, because they try to figure out a way that I'm going to listen to you, Deshaun. I'm going to listen to you, Nee, but I don't have the money. It's cool. Okay, you want to watch my car? It's cool. That person have a growth mindset. They may not be there economically, but the DNA that it take to grow, you see it off the gate.
Right. Yeah. And there's a difference between the people who don't want to buy the book and those who can't currently afford the book. Right? Because the person who can't currently afford the book, Let me tell you how you do it. You go to your local library and says, I want this book. The local library will order the book for you for free.
Yo, this it up. Yep.
But if you're the type of person that says, hey, the book's $13 or $23, whatever the case, most books aren't that expensive these days. But especially if it's one of the older books, like a Rich Dad, Poor Dad or something like that, it says, hey, I don't want to spend the $23. It goes back to the concept that I had with my friend. I was like, you ain't going to keep the $23. Let's be honest. It's like, you're not going to go through the day and keep the $23. Because here's the thing, right? Let's say you swing through Zaxby's. Right. That's $12 right there. $13. Don't get a drink because you had like $14. And that's just lunch.
Yep.
Then you're going to want dinner again. So you swing by wherever you want to go to. That's another $15. That'll get $30 right there. So if you're talking about, I'm not willing to invest in myself, it's like, but you're a massive consumer, growth mindset.
Well, growth mindset is always understanding your need. And when you can help someone identify their needs that may not have a growth mindset, eventually they'll marinate on it and catch up with it. Just so, like I say, I think unless you're born in the world with a handicap, everybody have it. It may not just be in an arena.
Right.
Now, do I believe everybody can be an entrepreneur? No, I don't. I think entrepreneur is very difficult and hard. But when you hire someone for your organization, you want them to have that growth mindset in that position that you have them for.
Right.
That thank you, I'm going to be the best editor or whatever the case might be because I am getting hired to get an opportunity to learn the skill set and I get to go home and not have all the entrepreneur problems, as you say, that's different problems. So having a growth mindset, it just comes in all ways. And everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur, though we tout entrepreneurship. But that's what you need to hang with is entrepreneurs because those conversations are the same.
Right.
But you can't expect the people that don't have it to have that growth mindset. It'll just show up for them when that time comes. And guess what when it show up? It's either they getting tired of getting paid this or they made a decision that, I appreciate working with you, but you taught me a lot. It might have taken 20 years to get to that point, and you'll understand. Welcome to the other side. It's a growth mindset. No different than I saw Chad Ochocinco on football, and he had said that he hated freaking school. That all he wanted to be was a football player. I might have retweeted this the other day to someone else. To me, that's the growth mindset. I don't know why they put so much emphasis, but for me, it was like my decision is all in with football. So what do you need to be around? Nothing but football.
Football players. Yep.
Being a good scholar, that's not a growth mindset for him.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me ask you this, Deshaun. Do you remember the first investment you had to make in yourself? As far as like starting your career as, well, let's backpedal just a little bit. How long have you been an entrepreneur for the people?
About 10, 12 years.
And so that's 10, 12 years where nobody just guaranteed your income. You had to make sure you did things, put things in place to make sure that you're able to get it. Meaning that, right? So I'll give you a prime example. I was on the phone with my sister. Shout out to you know which one. I was on the phone with my sister, and jokingly, not jokingly, she asked, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm at work." This is something you don't know nothing about. She's like, "No, I work." I said, "No, you have a job. I got work. Those are two different things." And she's like, "It's the same thing." I says, "No, you have a job. I have work." I was like, "What that means is you can go clock in and not do anything today. You're gonna get paid." I was like, "You really could twiddle your thumbs today because you got a job."
Yeah.
I was like, "I got work. If it doesn't get done, I don't get paid." And they know whether or not it got done because it's work. Like either you build a website or you didn't.
Right.
Like this is work. It's not a job. So whether it takes you longer or you twiddle your thumbs or not, you ain't just getting paid just to get paid. So talking about being an entrepreneur for over a decade, that means that you had to take on that responsibility of saying like, okay, nobody's just going to guarantee an income for me. I'm going to position myself to make sure I have the work to ensure that I have some type of income coming. So for you to get to that place, right, because you said you've been doing it for over a decade and to be able to do it for that long, Do you remember the first investment you had to make in yourself? What was it?
Oh man, shoot. So the first investment that I had to make was I decided to go to college. Okay. So I took out a student loan.
You
I
remember how much it was?
I about the first student loan I took out was about 7,000 for the semester, but ultimately it came out to be $50,000 in student loan.
Whew, how they balloon you like that?
$50,000 over 3 years. I went to school at first for psychology, then I switched to programming and analysis, and that's where the web. That's when it clicked because I love psychology, but I also wanted to be an entrepreneur. And by me becoming a webmaster, a web developer, a web designer, whatever you want to call it, it allowed me to own my own business ASAP. All I needed to do was learn how to build websites, which eventually I realized that going to school to get a degree in web development was the wrong way. It turned out to be that way because doing digital marketing and doing website development, it changes so fast. The market changes so fast. So I learned the hard way. I learned how to code websites. And then by the time I graduated, it was a whole different way of building websites. We came out with search engine optimization, getting to the first page. This is where everything started to click. And I actually had to invest in myself again with learning how to do things the right way. So I wasted all that money learning something the wrong way. And then when I actually was getting clients, I learned how to actually become a true entrepreneur and how to make sacrifices, how to develop self-discipline. This is where everything really clicks, is when you have clients and you got to perform. I realized when I was actually 16 that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I got my first check, I was working at Taco Bell and it wasn't big enough. It was not big enough.
Hey, we're going to clip that one. Taco Bell check one.
That check was not big enough. And I was like 15 years old, man. And I knew I just didn't like to clock in. I didn't like to be on somebody else's watch. The check wasn't big enough. I didn't like any of that stuff. So I was reading self-development books at 16, 17 years old. I was heavy into and self-development, to psychology, all of that stuff. I went to school. I started my own business at like 20, 25, got my clients. It was a lot of sacrificing to do, but it all paid off. You know, it paid off. And I think being an entrepreneur is very difficult. I think a lot of people aren't cut out for it. But I do think that it is sorry.
Are you good? That's why we edit.
I think a lot of people aren't cut out for entrepreneurship, maybe initially, but I do think there's a way to transition from the 9-to-5 to entrepreneurship. And you just really need to invest in mentoring. You need to invest in coaching. You really need to tap in and get around people that are like-minded, that are entrepreneurs, that are doing what you want to do. Because once you tap into that, the light comes on and you can see where you want to go at. When somebody is able to explain to you where they've been at from point A to point Z and lay it out for you, it's easy for you to take that information and get from point A to point B. But a lot of people, they want to figure things out the hard way, and it requires a lot of investment or wasting a lot of time, and it demotivates you. You know what I'm saying? But I do think the biggest investment that you can do is probably invest in a mentor. And if you decide to become an entrepreneur, and it's not just because you don't want to work the 9-to-5, if you really want to serve people and be a true entrepreneur, I think that the biggest investment you should do immediately is to invest in a mentor.
I would say another great way, cheat code, is what I call the proximity effect. And a great example, because I'll tell you how it happened with him. So we got connected because we are both in the web design business. And I remember meeting him for the first time, and me and him were talking and had a lot of like-minded things. And he was much further along in his career than I was. And I remember at the time, I had just started getting to making like $2,000 or $3,000 a month. And you can't tell me, well, I was killing it. I was like, I was good, right? And I remember him telling me I remember, and he was just sharing I remember my first month making $10,000 a month. He's like, but I worked so hard for it. It's like, it really wasn't worth it, right? And as he's telling story, and the point of his story was he was talking about how oftentimes you worked really, really hard, but what you had to exchange for it isn't worth it. But as he's trying to say this, I'm still stuck on the fact of like, wait a minute, dog. Like, how you did $10,000 in a month? And he, at that point, he said like he had continued to do it over and over again, but he found a way to make it easier to do it, and he didn't have to spend so much effort and time in order to do it. But I'm still stuck on step one. I'm like, how you doing $10,000 a month? Because in my head, I didn't know that was possible. But just having the proximity to him and him telling me that he did it, he's like, I promise you, it wasn't less than a month later. I was like, I did my first $10,000. And it wasn't, and like, it's a cheat code because it wasn't anything more than the fact that, growth mindset, we have limiting beliefs. And when we're become slaves to our limiting beliefs, we act those things out and we fall into a cycle. But when you, like you said, whether it be mentorship or being able to get in the right service with the right people, absolutely just lets you know that, hey, I've had this experience, so it's possible. So then it changes what you believe. Because before, I believe like doing which given it was, especially for where I was, like $2,000 or $3,000, especially like, because, you know, for us, like, I don't probably spend 8 hours of work. So compared to McDonald's or the Taco Bell, I really was killing it. I was like, but like, I'm thinking to myself, like, I had never done $10,000 in 1 month. I didn't know it was possible to do $10,000 in 1 month, especially with just doing websites.
You did know it was possible because that's why y'all chose to be entrepreneurs.
What I'm saying is like I didn't know that amount of money all at one time within a 30-day cycle was possible for one individual, not like a totally visible.
I got you, but
he showed me that
subconscious mind. Well, you had somebody that was in your field that was able to show you, but that's one of the things why you choose entrepreneurship. There's an impossible limitations. There's no cutoff on it.
It's a beautiful thing.
You know, it's like there's the richest man in the world, whether it's Elon Musk or whoever, to just the average person that's probably making $1 million.
Yep.
That part, that is what you want to go. Everybody have a pivot point when they hit that. And one of the things I like about y'all generation, because I'm a little more mature in age, and I often tell Needis here, boy, when I was your age, I had too much fear holding me back. Because he got family, kids, and everything. And I was like, during my time, I'm like, no, I held my job down for a while. I had to have an event to happen to say, this is it. I got to pivot.
Yeah.
You know, I got to pivot. And, you know, I'm always grateful because I had good people around me when I did that pivot because at the time I was told, boy, you crazy. Don't do it that way. Don't do it that way. So the fact that you guys both were so young, and that's what I like about the young generation, y'all ain't hearing it. A lot of people saying, I want that. You skipping over the Taco Bells. You see it, like when you go into Taco Bells now, when I was younger, you saw younger people. Now you see more mature people. It just showed you the reason why they saying the mature people, because guess what? Their limitations, that fear, stopped them from trying something they really wanted to do. And being there at Taco Bell, KFC, any of the fast food restaurant, they're not going to meet the demands that you really want in life, the wants that you want. It might meet a need, not too many of them, but just like you said, at 16, you said, this ain't enough. And I was like, maybe his mom and dad them had a little money already.
I don't know. It wasn't enough what you trying to do. If you say this ain't going to, man, it wasn't.
Let me ask you this, Shawn, because another thing that I want to credit you on is from day one when I met him. Let me first give this as context. When I started with deciding to start a web design company, I was in a men's group and a Christian group. I was in a men's like Bible study type of group, and we got together once a week. So one of the guys was telling me that there was another guy in the group that he owned a web design company here in Gainesville. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, cool. The mentorship thing. I said, I'm going to reach out to him. And I reached out to him with a pitch of, and I, just like I'll probably share a story with you. I reached out to him. I gave him a call, says, hey, I'm in the men's group that you're in as well. I was like, I just started a web design business. I would love to be able to meet you for lunch, get you coffee or lunch or something like that, to sit down, just ask you a couple questions. Here's what I'm looking to do. I want to be able to build affordable websites. When I mean affordable websites, what I explained to him, and you can attest to this, right? Like there are people, because he had a company, it's like it's people that was charging those $10,000, $20,000 for a website. I was like, I wanted to service the bottom of the barrel. I was like, I wanted to.
You got out of that quick, didn't you?
I grew out of it. I didn't get out of it. I grew out of it. But the reason I did it wasn't because I wanted to make money originally. It was like I wanted to solve a need. It wasn't even price. I wanted to solve a need because the web design wasn't my first business.
Right.
I landed in web design because I couldn't afford a website, so I developed the skill. So I wanted to be able to help other people by saying, hey, if you just need a website for your business to start running, I want to be able to help you do that because I get it that we don't all have the funds to get the professional website done. So anyways, I explained that to him that was my mission. I just wanted to do this. And long and short, Buddy wasn't trying to hear it. He was like, you competition. He's like, I don't want to have a conversation with you. Literally was just like, he's like, told me, no, I don't want to help you. Like, because I'm competition. And I was like, and I explained to him, I was like, we're not serving the same people though. I'm doing something completely different. Yes, it's in the same field, but it's different. And he was still like, no, I don't want to help you. And like
your potential to grow to where he was.
It hurt. I ain't gonna lie. It hurt me, but it hurt me. And it also made me feel like, well, now I'm really going to do it now. I was like, I'm really I'm motivated now. So back to giving him credit, when I met him and we talked about it, because obviously at this point how we met was through my older brother. I built a website for him, and then Shawn was doing some marketing stuff for him. So we had a lot of crossover and things that we do. I did marketing. I had marketing and web design. He does marketing and web design. My brother just happened to use us for different parts of the service, but then said, hey, y'all really should connect. So we did. We sat down. Like I said, he had been doing it much longer than me. We built on 2 different platforms, but we're just chopping it up. And one thing I loved about him is that he wasn't trying to gatekeep anything. He was like, hey bro, have you thought about doing this? Hey, you should do this. You should do this. I did this before, and this worked really well for me. And I did the same thing. I thought it really
seemed like the other person going back to fear. He feared competition.
Mm-hmm. Where he understood something that I say all the time. I've said it to you before, right? Is that it's not competition, it's collaboration. Correct. We're together. I was like, yeah, if it was a competition, if it was a competition, I'd be winning because I'm a dominant. Interior. I was like, and we still do this to this day. There's times that leads will come in, whether they come to my company. If I feel like he's the better fit, I literally hit him up and says, hey, here you go. Go ahead and take care of this one. And he does vice versa. Says, hey, I think this person's a better fit for you. It's even how me and you connected because you guys were at the gym and he's like, hey, I know a guy that you need to connect with. Like being able to be in rooms and spheres, like talking about that growth mindset, it is so important. One, what he says, having the mentors, and 2, the proximity of being around good people who are on that trajectory of having that growth mindset. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have experiences like this where you're going to find and you're going to be in rooms where even though we have a lot of overlapping in things that we do, we don't see each other as competition. We see each other as another collaborator, right? And anytime that it's a competition, he's only competing with the best version of himself and trying to get, that 1-2% better than the same thing.
You use one important word out of that, a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
So as you grow, as he said, like, wow, I made so much money in a month, but it's not worth it. So he scaled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I see you doing. You could do a lot, but guess what I see you do? You scale. I get a little bit. So you don't mind sharing what's the important thing of the growth mindset.
Yeah.
Of realizing that you cannot hoard it all unless you design a product that can fit the masses.
But even with that, right? So we see shows like Shark Tank, right? And I'll repeat what I heard Nick Cannon say one time. He says 100% 0% of 100 or 100% of 0 is still 0. Meaning that if you own 100% of a product, service, or whatever, but you don't have any sales, it's still 0. It doesn't matter. It's like you'll be better off saying, hey, I own 50% of it, or I get 50% of the margins of it, but we're selling 1 million units.
Right.
It means I'm gonna walk away with $500,000. Like you have read, that's a better position that says, oh, I got 100.
0 is never your hero in that case.
Yeah, never. So, but so the fastest way of getting there really is saying like, who can I partner with and find someone that I can partner with and be able to get in the same direction. So we have, and through the years, it's been years that we've known each other. Now we get on the phone and he's busy, I'm busy. A lot of times we'll just have a conversation of like, bro, at some point we got to work on this project. At some point we got to do this. You got to do that. It's like, as soon as you get a break, I get a break, we're going to be able to do that. But we spend a lot of times collaborating just in thought of saying like, hey, what you got going on? Yeah. We'll tap in with each other and says, hey, what you got going on outside of just sending referrals back to each other? And like even that camaraderie.
Sound like something brewing.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah. Hey, listen, you were just
Chopping it up back there, boy.
it sounds like stuff. You know, it's really, really funny. Chris is gonna love this because one thing that he oftentimes says is, especially when it comes to the Gainesville area where we are, he says a lot of people fake it. He's like, two of the people that's the realest, like, can actually deliver results. Is the two of us. But he's like, it's hard to find them too. It's like either you know them or you don't, because we don't spend a lot of time in front of the camera. We spend a lot of time behind it. Like, we're the masters of ROI. Like, we don't get your return on your investment. We go make sure, like, our thing is not just collecting money. Our thing is, okay, what's the end result? What are we aiming for? Am I the person who can get you across the finish line? If so, like, I want to do that because I know that when I do that, I'm building a relationship. You're gonna give me an extra referral, and we're in the business of real dollars. Like, I'm not in the business of like just pulling up an iPhone and says, hey, look at me. So we actually go out and do the work. So my brother says all the time, he's like, man, there's a bunch of people out there in the marketing space that talks a lot of stuff, but then when you actually hire them, you realize they can't actually do it.
Perform. Yep.
He's like, but the two people that actually can, he's like, the thing that sucks about y'all is like, either they know you or they don't know you. It's like, and I was like, I told my brother once, I was like, hey, we gonna work on solving that problem. We gonna get in front. I know last year you did a lot of efforts of creating more content, letting people know the things that you've been doing. Because they say it's been doing it for 10 years. I've been in digital media space for 8 years, but the marketing probably like 6.5 years. I've been doing the marketing end of it, but the video production, all the rest of it, I've been doing for much longer. Like, even at this point, you know, where both of us, we have these conversations, we realize that the value is in the content and building a personal brand. And it's things that we've preached to our clients for years. And sometimes they take the advice, sometimes they don't. But then me and him had conversations like, man, sometimes they just don't know how to do it. So we said, hey, let's literally show them how to do it. Like, it ain't rocket science. Like, it'd be nice if you listen to them, but if you don't want to listen to them, like, let me actually show you. So back to the mentorship and things like that, I know that you help people with that. I've been helping people with that as well. So if you have people that, you know, you're looking for somebody that can kind of guide you and point you in that right direction. Now, mentorship does cost. All right. It depends on how much time you want to have somebody. Like, I say that you have 3 different models, right? You have the do it yourself,
Right.
the done with you, and the done for you, right? And in most cases, we offer both of those. Like, I can give you the advice and you can do it yourself. It's going to take you longer, right? Right. That's that Honda. I was like, we can do it together, which means that I'm going to take care of all the things that you don't have the skill set in order to do. And I'm going to tell you the things that you need to do as far as sweat equity, right? And then we have what we prefer, the done for you. It says, hey, all you got to do is do this one thing, but the 80%, we're going to do all these things. You just show up on time. That's all we need to do. Show up on time, but we already got everything mapped out for you. Obviously, it costs more, but what we've realized is that there's also the value of time. And that's the biggest commodity. It's our cost of time, but also too, it's like $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. So if you want to spend, 2 years getting to the place of where you're making money versus saying, hey, let me work with Deshaun and pay him X amount of dollars, but he's going to get me profitable in 2 months and show me everything that I need to do because he's been doing it for so long, or Nehemiah's been doing it for so long. Like, it's a better method because we can tell you, like, one of the investments, like you say, there was the financial investment, but we spent a lot of time in learning this.
Yeah,
like,
perfecting our craft. Yeah, for sure. I don't know how many websites.
Thank God for guys like y'all.
I think I had to build. I think I had to build like
It's like
400 or 500 websites.
yeah.
400 to 500 websites over 10 years. 10 years, bro. So, and like you were saying a while ago, is that the biggest turn for me is a lot of my clients, they don't really listen to you. They don't want to take your advice. So you got to show them. And what I did 5 years ago is I actually built the website. I did the SEO, which is the search engine optimization, and I got it to the top of Google. Once it started generating leads, I actually contacted a contractor. And ever since then, that contractor has been buying leads from that same website 5 years ago. And that translated to over $500,000. I got the W-2s, the 1099s to prove it. So that's, it's a lot that goes into it. But really, when you perfect your craft as a web developer and as a webmaster and a marketer, and you can perform, these people will, like, you'll get the clients. The clients will come and contact you. Just like what Chris was saying, is like, I only know 2 people that can actually deliver the return on investment, the ROI, and that's us 2. And we have the education, we have the knowledge, we know exactly what to do. and it's just a matter of getting the clients to either let us do it or we can teach you how to do it, right? It's one or two. You got one or two. You either want the advice, you want the consultation, you want us to tell you what you can do, or you want to just hire us as the professional and the expert and we deliver those results.
Yeah, the smart is go ahead and hire you.
And just hire us and let us do our thing.
Yeah, and here's the secret sauce, right? Like secret sauce, because it can sound like, oh, it's just gaslight, but the secret sauce is that both myself and him, we both know how to say no. Meaning that if you're not in the good right fit, like if I can't deliver that for you, I'm just going to say no, because what it allows me to do is I have better relationships and I can say that I can deliver for my clients because I'm taking on projects that I know that I can do versus a lot of what we talk about, the return on investment. You're reaching out to a marketer or agency and they're just taking the business, but they didn't realize, hey, I don't actually know how to make this work for you.
Correct.
So we've niched down into knowing exactly how we can have repeatable systems for our clients. So when someone reaches out, one or two things happens. Either you're the right fit for me to work with and I work with you, or I've already aligned myself with other people like Deshawn that I know it says this is the right person for you to go with because they specialize in this much more than I do. So even with that, we have that feeder system of like, he'll reach back out and says, hey, well, you take care of this aspect of it and then I'm going to take care of this aspect of it, because that way we'll be able to work with them and make sure that they're taken care of in the best way possible. So when you talk about our results and what we're able to do, it's really our secret sauce is if you come to us and we can't help you, we're just going to let you know and be transparent, says we're not the right fit for you.
Correct. It is. It's very hard for a lot of like up and coming entrepreneurs to turn down work. They want all the money, but we got to it very fast to the point where, if it's not a good fit, it's okay to say no, or it's okay to refer them out. And that's really what you want to do. You really want to just work with the clients that is a good fit for you, because they're not difficult. They're not a nightmare client, which is what you don't want, because they're going to soak up all your time and it's not worthwhile. And that was when I told you I was making that $10,000 a month, man, I had the worst clients. And that's when it clicked like 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm just like, you know what? I need to actually decide on who I want to work with, right? It's not.
Well, it's kind of deciding. We've been talking about growth mindset.
Right.
And when you say the client is like a red dot, a beast stinging you, and it's like, I'm giving them all I can, at some point you have to realize, where's the growth in this for you and me?
Correct.
There's a lot of negative energy being exchanged. And the best thing to say, hey, I found somebody else that can tolerate what you need, or maybe in more need.
Right.
To help meet your needs,
right.
So to say. So, having that growth mindset, like I say, man, every day is an opportunity for growth.
Right.
That's what I like about it. Every day is an opportunity to grow for everybody.
Right.
As Nia hear me say sometimes, squeeze it till you can't squeeze it no more.
Yeah. Let me ask both of you guys this question before we wrap up the session for the day. Simon, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best piece of advice I ever received was to fix you first. Fix you first.
Shawn, best piece of advice?
I would say put yourself first. Invest in yourself. I think
he told me that recently.
I think self-development and investing in yourself is vital. I had to learn that. I learned that through my divorce, 4 years ago. But it's a game changer. 4 or 5 years ago, it's a game changer, because once I decided to put myself first and I started to invest in myself, then I can help others. I can mentor others. I can coach others. You can do a whole lot more. When you have a
true trickle down economics.
Yeah. I think self-develop. I think everybody should tap into like self-development.
Yeah.
I think that's the core. That's where the IQ, the intelligence, the entrepreneurship, that's where everything is at.
Well, they always say when the end of your road come, that God ain't worried about everybody else.
Yeah.
He's dealing with you. Yeah.
And
so got to get right for that moment.
I think you got to put yourself first, man.
So
best he said that.
Yeah. One of the cheat codes to do what he's talking about for those people at home, like, easiest way, go find a mentor and says, hey, how can I be able to work with you? Like, what would it cost for me to be able to work with you? Can you put together a plan for me to be able to have you mentor me? It's like the what I call poor man's version of this is find someone that you admire, that you want to be able to replicate something they do. Be very specific as to what you're looking to replicate in their life, and say, hey, Simon, can I take you lunch on Thursday? Lunch is on me. I just want to be able to pick your brain, right? So here's the thing. One, I can, to the most of my ability, control what that cost is, because then it says, can I meet you at Starbucks for a call? Because then I know, hey, it's a $10 to meet it, right? And then I says, hey, can we keep this going? So that's the poor man's version. But knowing all honestly, like if you're looking for a place to start and your limit is saying like, I just don't have the finances to pay a Deshaun or pay a Nehemiah or a Simon to mentor me, it may not take that initially. It may just take you saying, hey, how can I invite somebody out and says, hey, can I buy you a coffee? Can I pay for you to have lunch? Can I do this to show you that I just appreciate your time?
Right.
And then when I have your time, be very specific with what you want with your acts.
Correct.
You show me how to X.
Right.
Because in a lot of those cases, those people will be willing to help you with that. I'll tell you the best piece of advice that I have, and I would love you guys, is I'll comment a little bit about the advice that you guys have shared. But the best piece of advice I got from my mentor, he told me, when you say yes to someone else's problem, you make their problem your problem. So be careful saying yes. And he gave this analogy, like if you're you have a friend that says, hey, I need to get to the airport in Orlando. The flight leaves at 9 a.m. I need to get to the airport by 7. He says, okay, yeah, I'll take you. Now, mind you, that friend ain't got a car, and they need you to take them to the airport to catch their flight. So then you pick them up, you take them on the road, your tire goes flat, and your tire blows, right? Now your friend's mad at you because you made them miss their flight.
They're probably going to say, we'll follow.
If you're thinking to yourself, like, you're not concerned about the $200 I got to pay for the tire? Like, because the only reason I'm here is because I'm trying to do something that's not what's on their mind. What's on their mind is, I missed my flight, and that was really important, and you knew your raggedy tire should have been changed. Right? So then it's like, and that's the analogy you gave me, it's like, I realized now I'm a lot more careful before I say yes to something, because he says, when you say yes to someone else's problem, you now make it your problem. Now this is your problem, and you're responsible for it. And then the tag to that is, one thing that I've learned him do it in practice is, anytime I would call my mentor, he revealed this to me later, but anytime I would call him, I got a problem, says, hey, how do I do X, Y, and Z? I call him, he'll be like, hey, let me get back to you. And he don't get back to me 2 days later. And I remember one day, like he like told me, says, hey, you ever realize anytime you call, I call you back 2 days later, and I ask you, hey, have you? I was like, yeah. I was like, I never really thought anything of it. He's like, yeah, because if after 2 days you still got a problem, it's a real problem. He's like, if you figured it out, it's like, it wasn't a real problem. It's like, so I normally give you 2 days. It's like that's how you do it in practice. Like, somebody calls you, hey, that's what's up. This is Shawn. I need to borrow $100. All right, give me a minute. Let me hit you back. You hit me back in 2 more days. Says, hey, man, you still need that $100? Nah, man, I was able to figure it out. It's like, okay, cool. It wasn't a problem, right? Because if you would have just said yes then, you just made it your problem.
That's true.
A problem that wasn't a problem, you made it your problem. But given if it's a real problem after 2 days, the problem still be, hey, man, we give it, nah, bro, like, I'm still trying to figure it out. All right, cool. Let me cash out for you this real quick to make sure.
It's funny because I use that method on my clients, man. If I want to know if a client is serious or not, hey, give me 2 days. If they reach out in 2-3 days, they serious. They want your work. It's funny. I actually do that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, could you give me a quote on the website? Yeah, I'll get you a quote later on today. I don't contact them for 2 days just to see. They reach out. It's always 100% closing.
Always 100%.
It's all, I close every single, hey, did you get a chance to send it? Did you not send it? Did you get the right email? Oh, yeah, let me send it to you right now. And bam, they want to do business. You know what I'm saying? So that is true. That's very true. If it's after 2 days, it's a real problem. If you solve it before 2 days, if they find another web developer, or if they just looking for something cheaper, I won't hear back from them.
Right. Let's do what George first said. Fix you first. What's one thing you had to do in your life to fix you before you got to fix the situation?
You have to overcome the fears and negativity around you. So sometimes you can come from environments that's not conducive to a growth mindset. And you got to recognize that game real quick.
So how did you do it?
I took the route of self-development books. I took the route of looking outside the norm because it wasn't what was around at that time wasn't fixing. So I had to look outside of my environment. And I was one that didn't have that type of money to go pay someone for that because I'm like, hey, I really don't know which way to turn right now. So the spending that isolation time for me helped fix me. And then once I fixed me, I think the energy that I started putting out, it changed. I got what I started needing.
Was something you had to do to fix you first?
Diet, gym, fitness,
Yeah, she working on you right there.
self-development. I love knowledge, books, courses, consultations, anything that can elevate me, anything that could benefit me, anything that can take me to the next level. So I love investing in myself. You know, I think it's just a matter of when you want to do it. I'm not big on procrastinating, so I think that you should be investing in yourself every single day, but you should just go all out with it. That's just how I look at it. You should just just go all out. So at one point in time, man, like 3 or 4 years ago, man, I was my diet, I was doing everything. You see me in the gym.
I saw you.
You see me, man. I was 250 pounds at one point in time, man. I was fasting, bro. I did everything to change my mindset, my environment, all that mattered. Like you said, proximity, everything matters. So I moved into a better environment. I started associating with people that are like-minded, entrepreneurs.
It was that event you went through,
you know,
and when they kind of took you down a little bit.
I went down that rabbit hole. Man,
that's all.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole, and I said,
him.
I gotta get myself together, man. It just clicked for me, and next thing you know, man, like people was just, and you could see the results because people were just like, hey man, I see you 2 months ago, man, you looking good, and it's great. You looking good, man. You're doing good, and they can see it. When you invest in yourself, people can see it, and you'll get compliments. Yeah, definitely. It's very motivating. It's very motivating.
One thing I had to do to fix myself was learn how to guard my time because I was such a giver. You know what I mean? Going back to what my mentor told me about saying yes to things, I was such a giver that I didn't realize that I have to have limits because takers don't. So what I had to do was
say that again.
Givers have to have limits because takers don't. Like I'm gonna take whatever you give me. I ain't got no limit on how much I can take. So the giver has to be the one that says, I have the limit on how much I'm.
That's true. I like that.
So I worked on fixing myself is starting to guard my time better. And the way in which I did it is I shifted my perspective of not thinking that my time was mine and I own my time, but realizing that I'm only a steward of my time. What I mean by that is, so I'm married and I got kids. So my time doesn't solely belong to me.
Right.
My time is shared between all the people that's in my life. So I can't just say, if Simon needs something, just immediately say yes to Simon and give no regards to the time that belongs to my wife, my kids, my business, my finances, my personal development, my self-care, like all those things. My time belongs to these things as well. So I got to be able to steward my time very, very well and be careful what I say yes to, what I obligate myself to, what problems I allow to come into my life that were not my problems, that didn't originate with me, right? By saying yes. So guarding my time is one way that I fix myself because before I felt like, you know, it was everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm trying to help everybody else, but everybody's like, whatever it is like, no. The takers aren't the problem.
Well, it goes back to all of us unanimously say that it starts here.
Yeah.
And it starts there with the growth mindset. So as everybody grows to the point that when the growth becomes there to feel comfortable in their environment, then those takers, you may deal with them a little bit more, but you still guard what value am I receiving from you now?
Right.
And I'm not gonna waste my energy if I tell you to don't steal and you just got out of jail, you still go steal. You can be like, you're not ready.
I heard, and I know that both of y'all will love it. I heard this woman say on a podcast one time, she says, I stopped giving my advice to people who don't pay for it.
Yeah.
Which means that, say for example, you can say whatever you want. I'm not obligated to give not to give my opinion or my advice. You didn't pay for it. So instead of correcting you just because, well, I believe the best way to build a website is this way and the best way to market is this way. You ain't my client. You right.
Yeah.
You right. You right. It's like, now once you pay me, I says, hey, let me show you.
Well, once you pay me, it turns into a consultation, right?
Yeah.
This is a consultation.
Yeah, but when it's not a consultation, it's like,
It's advice.
You're right. Like, I'm not
right.
I'm still spend my time trying to correct you when like it wasn't asked for and you're not paying me for it.
Because I remember a while ago, you told me, you gave me a piece of advice. I think you told me your mentor, you said somebody was telling you that when it comes to time, that they block out 2 hours. Yeah, that was excellent. They block out 2 hours and can't nobody get a hold of him. Like his yeah, like
There's no way to do
I
it.
still do that to this, and
and I'm like,
you mornings. Yeah, my wife. I said, hey, I'm about to go off grid. It's like 2 hours, yo. So she already knows. Hey, like I'm unavailable at this time. Like even she can't. And I've learned, like even with being married, I know both of you got remarried. You went through a divorce, but that's another part of guarding that time. Like is realizing that you can have yourself be lost in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever relationship you're in. It doesn't just mean a marriage relationship, but you have your marriage, you have your friendships, you have your relationship that you have with the business, with the clients, and then you forget to take care of yourself, like you were saying. And then before you know it, because takers have no limits now, everything into the business took from me to the kids and took for everybody. And then at the end of the day, because we're men, we're providers, then they look at you because your cup's empty. Oh, you ain't got nothing to give.
Yep.
You ain't got nothing to give. Like, so you need to go fix you. I was like, wait a minute. So that's where it goes back in. It's like, we got to make sure that we have those times that says, hey, you know what? I need to go away and take care of this, whether it be going to the gym. I got to read this.
Right.
I got to start this course. I got to do whatever it is. And what I've learned to be successful in that is simply communication. Whoever is important to communicate to, right? Like if there's clients, because you're running a business and the business is demanding every time, communicate to your clients. Hey, after 5, I'm unavailable.
Right.
I'm not gonna do this. If it's a wife, hey, at this time I'm be doing this, I'm gonna be unavailable. If it's a kids, hey, y'all need to go take a nap or something because we doing this right here, or whatever. Friends, whatever it is. It's just a matter of you have to learn how to prioritize that self-care and stewarding your time, your energy, your well-being, everything, especially as a man, because at the end of the day, when you become depleted, ain't nobody gonna look at you and be like, oh, Simon, I understand. You're right. Oh, ain't no understand. It's like, that's your fault. That's your fault that you tired. Nobody asked you to be tired. You knew what you had to do. You knew what you obligated yourself to. And you be like, at the end of the day, you be like, okay, I see.
I
see.
Yep. I feel you, man. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being on today, man. We greatly appreciate you joining us for the Growth Mindset. Anything you want to say to the people, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you?
You can hit me up on social media, Deshawn, the @ DA_SHAWN. Just hit me up there. That's Instagram, that's Facebook. Just Google Deshawn. You'll see me. just Google Deshawn. How you just Google Deshawn. You'll see. You'll see it.
Out of here.
OG, go ahead and close us out. Give us one lasting thought for the Growth Mindset.
My lasting thought.
And Deshawn, you'll close us with an actionable item for the week. Tell the people what they can do to work on that growth mindset. So give us the closing thought, then you give us our actionable item.
Don't let your fears hold you back.
Awesome.
I would say check out the book called The Time Paradox. That's what I want you to do. The Time Paradox.
Who is it by?
I ain't gonna tell you. Just check it out. Just check it out.
Time Paradox.
I want you to check it out. Time Paradox. Yeah, it's good. It's real. It's a self-development. It tells you the perspective of time, how people view time, how they communicate. It's good, man. It's just check it out. The Time Paradox. Check it out.
No doubt.
Hey, it's been a great moment here on the Growth Mindset Podcast. We'll catch you next time.